Ironhead is a man in his 60s known for having an extremely strong iron-like skull. From a young age, Ironhead, his brother Iron Crotch, and sister Roar have been taught respective forms of martial arts by their master. Ironhead can bang his head into bricks without feeling a thing. Iron Crotch specializes in bearing a crotch as strong as a diamond because to train himself, he has been hitting a metal punching swing with his crotch. Similarly, Roar has a voice that can end people's lives with a single screech. She has been accused of bursting people's eardrums with her laugh, and she breaks at least 5 glasses with her voice to train every day. The 3 siblings were praised for their talent when they were young, but as they got older, so did their talents. People lost interest in them, and even though they continued training, they weren't respected for their efforts. Moreover, the Iron siblings remained mostly unemployed throughout their lives, which has now resulted in Ironhead being neck-deep in debts. One morning, the debt collectors barge into his apartment and gather all of his belongings to make up for the money he owes them. Their leader also sees Ironhead's old certificates and makes fun of him for choosing a stupid path in life. After they leave, he uses a tiny chair and some leftover tableware to eat whatever he has left. Ironhead pities himself and finally comes to terms with his life at the ripe age of 60. Determined to make a change, he sets off looking for a job. The first group he comes across is a gangster's minions distributing money among themselves. The amount of money they make for doing such a simple job shocks Ironhead, and he decides to join the group. In the following scene, the old man reaches a gym having followed the group. The right-hand man Riker is about to kick him out until the gang leader Jai stops him. He is willing to hear Ironhead's problem, but upon finding out that he wants to join the gang, he laughs at the old man's face. Ironhead begs them to give his head a chance, but is ultimately kicked out. At night, Ironhead's daughter and his grandson come to his house offering help. However, he is too proud of a man to accept money from them. Hoping to keep him busy, the daughter leaves her son to stay with him for a few days. Although Ironhead doesn't appreciate it, he hands the kid a ball to keep him entertained. The next morning, Jai's minions are driving down a street nearby, which reminds Ironhead of the disrespect he was put through by the creditors. It pushes him to take things a step further, making him jump in front of the car. The gangsters quickly help him and take him into the gang to ensure they won't get in trouble. On his man's recommendation, Jai is ready to give Ironhead a chance, but first, he has to prove his worth by collecting money from a very stubborn client. Ironhead accepts the challenge and goes looking for the said man. He turns out to be a successful businessman having a lunch meeting with his client. At first, Ironhead simply asks him to pay back the debt, but as expected, the man ignores him. For his second attempt, Ironhead crosses a line and spits his food at the businessman. The angry debtor bangs a glass bottle on Ironhead's head, but instead of backing down, Ironhead continues breaking several bottles on himself. The people around look at the businessman as the villain, unlike how they would treat a usual debt collector. As a result, the man feels humiliated and hands Ironhead his credit card. Back in the gangster's base, Jai is impressed by Ironhead's skills. He gives him a 30% commission from the money he collected and promises to increase the numbers if he continues the good work. Jai's right-hand man Riker burns in jealousy because of the special treatment the new guy gets. He desperately tries to change his boss's mind, claiming that Ironhead just got lucky, but the old man is still given a chance. In the following montage, we see him earning a fortune in a single month. He fills his house with expensive furniture, gadgets, and alcohol. He makes sure to hide his profession from Iron Crotch, Roar, and the Master, knowing that they won't support him. They even visit his house, but Ironhead lies about the furniture and manages to keep his work a secret. Then one day, he is assigned to collect from a young worker named Bell. His usual technique works and Bell gives him 30,000 yuan, which is all he had at the moment. Ironhead allows it and brings the money to the boss, but Riker calls it a scam. Their policy tells them to never accept more than half of the money, and Bell owes them 300,000 rupees. Riker insults Ironhead, raising questions about his competence and calling him a fraud. In a fit of rage, Ironhead promises to collect the total amount in 3 days. If not, he will have to pay the entire amount himself and will be treated as a debtor. Ironhead is confident in his skills while Riker prays for his downfall. At night when returning home, Riker and his people beat up the old man in the streets and tear the paper that has Bao's accounts in it. This makes it harder for Ironhead to prove that Bao owes the money. He somehow picks himself up and returns home. Another man knocks at his door sometime later to return his share of money. Ironhead is happy to accept it, but just then, his daughter and her policeman husband arrive home. They believe the guy is a debt collector and order him to get out of the house. Ironhead doesn't want them to know about his profession and loses money in the process. In the following scene, we see Ironhead's son-in-law at a house that has been robbed. The house belongs to Bell, and it turns out that he is the one who stole the money that was meant to be for his mother's hospital bills. He admits his mistake and tells everyone it was to pay off his debts. The family shares an emotional conversation, after which Bao promises to never do something like that again. Ironhead's son-in-law and his colleagues also give the family a few thousand yuan to help them. The next day, Ironhead again goes to Bao and uses his old trick to get him to pay. The commotion takes place in the middle of the street, urging people to yell at Bao to pay up. With no way out, the poor man hits himself on the head with a brick, mimicking Ironhead. The old man simply hands him a handkerchief and walks away in regret. He never wanted to use his skill for bad and has a realization that he is turning into a person he hates. At the same time, Jai and Riker are watching Ironhead from their car. Jai always had his doubts regarding him, and Riker works hard to add fuel to the fire. They know for sure that he is going to fail, but plan to wait until 3 days are over to take action against him. Later that day, Iron Crotch, Roar, and the Master barge into Ironhead's home and find out how he got rich. They are disgusted that he would use his training to do something so foul. Moreover, the company he works for takes advantage of the poor and offers them loans at disturbingly high interest. Ironhead is embarrassed to the point he wants the ground to swallow him. He hands over the remainder of his money to the Master, promising to never return to work again. But upon seeing the amount of money, the Master and his entire lot change their minds. He declares them a team of 4 debt collectors and joins Ironhead at work. The Master beats up Iron Crotch with a hammer in front of their clients, making them pay up in a hurry. Using the same trick, they earn thousands in only an hour, but they are yet to convince Bao. He insists that he has no money, but the group wants him to sell the house to pay them, even though he and his family will be homeless after that. When Bao still doesn't pay, Roar starts repeating the words "pay up" outside his home. She does so for the next 2 days without stopping, and eventually, Bao's mother allows him to sell the house. In the next scene, Ironhead and the team go to Jai with the money. Jai insults Riker for ever doubting Ironhead and makes him the right-hand person. Ironhead is given power over everyone in the gang, much to Riker's annoyance. For the next month, Ironhead and the group continue collecting money using the same technique. It works like a charm, as people are terrified of being hit with a hammer as the Master does to Iron Crotch. The group also makes a lot of money and starts enjoying their lives to the fullest. Moreover, they take the responsibility to train other gangsters and make more money from that. Then on Ironhead's birthday, he throws a huge party. Everyone enjoys themselves until Jai informs them of the big boss Yan's arrival. He invites Ironhead, Jai, and the rest of his car and congratulates him on his birthday. The man also takes the chance to inform them that their company is now providing loans to college students. They are young and impressionable, which Yan plans to take advantage of. Ironhead doesn't feel comfortable with the idea, but he doesn't dare to oppose the big boss. The next day, they are asked to collect from a young college girl. She sees someone beat Iron Crotch and is shaken. To refrain from suffering the same fate, she agrees to pay them by selling her naked pictures. Ironhead watches her walk away with the gangsters and feels guilty to have had a hand in this. Trying to forget about the girl, he decides to spend time with his grandson instead. They go on a cruise trip together and enjoy the next week. In the meantime, the college girl is manipulated into going into a room with Riker. Another less important member of the gang is Ling, who doesn't like the girl being exploited. He tries to retaliate but is shut down by his bosses. After the trip, Ironhead, his grandson, and the rest of the group are walking down a beach when they come across Bao's mother and daughter living out in the open. The little girl accuses Ironhead of making her family suffer. His grandson and she get into a fight, resulting in the boy swinging a glass bottle at her. Ironhead takes the hit and his head bleeds for the first time because of the impact. This is his last straw, and he no longer wants to associate with Yan, Jai, or their business. The next time he meets Yan, he makes his decision clear to him. The gangster is evidently not happy about his best man quitting, but surprisingly enough, he walks away without saying anything. After that, Ironhead meets Ling, who was asked to take care of his grandson. The poor guy was beaten up by Yan's man, who kidnapped the kid. An enraged Ironhead is ready to risk everything for his grandson, but before that, he calls his daughter and asks her to remain safe. Elsewhere, we see Bao's mother receive a credit card and an apology letter from Ironhead. She can finally buy a house and stay off the streets. In the next scene, Ironhead's group barges into Yan's gym with guns. The kid is let free and the gangsters surrender because of the weapons. But then, Roar accidentally pulls the trigger, revealing that the guns are children's toys. The group is then captured and asked to take a video of college girls. Yin wants to strip them of their principles to prove they are as foul as the rest of his employees. Ironhead refuses to hold the camera and instead holds a gun to his head. Seconds before he is shot, the SWAT team drops from the ceiling, having debunked the money laundering the gang has been involved in. Finally, all the gangsters, including Yen and Jai, are arrested and the girls are also let free. In the last scene, Ironhead moves out of his home and goes to live with his daughter's family. He, Iron Crotch, Roar and the Master vow to never use their skills hastily again.